My guest today is the UK's most successful female recording artist ever. I've come to a remote corner of North Wales to meet Annie Lennox. Now, she's never fitted the pop star stereotype. She's always shunned the celebrity circuit, but she has consistently used her fame to get things done for causes that she believes in. And is that a trade-off which works? Annie Lennox, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you.
Now, a few years back, one of the music channels in the United States voted you, and I'm quoting, the greatest white soul singer alive. And I want to start by tracing back the roots of your music. Where was your soul forged?
Ooh, well, I'm Scottish, obviously, and I think that has influenced me tremendously in the sense that my father was a bagpipe player, and I used to listen to him practicing. And there's a form of music in the pipe tradition called pibroch, and it's what the pipers used to play as a lament after the battle. And I think it's very, very similar to deep blues. It's about pain, it's about expression of grief. And I kind of tuned into that. That's
an extraordinary connection, because you're from Aberdeen, the granite city. Some would say a grey city with those lowering skies and, you know, frankly, pretty cold and wet a lot of the time. And yet, you had that association, you feel, in your soul with the deep south of the United States?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think that soul is colourless. It's free of our skin colour. Soul is something intangible that we can all connect with. And music is a vehicle through which one expresses those deeper, more invisible aspects of oneself. So, yes, I think that music transcends all those kind of boundaries of race or culture or creed. You know?
And your father was playing the bagpipes. I mean, he was a shipyard worker.
He was,
and
yeah.
it wasn't a life that materially was particularly well off. Did your parents really push your music?
In the sense that they saw that I had a musical capacity, because, you know, I used to be able to pick tunes out on a little toy piano when I was about 3.
Brilliant.
And so, and sing a lot. I always sang, and my family sang as well. And so they did encourage that, absolutely, but it was curtailed because we didn't have a lot of money, and I would have loved to have had dance classes, and I would have loved to have done a lot more.
And when you sang, did singing from an early age, did it sort of transport you? Did it take you to a different place?
It does. It does.
I want to get to your pop music, because you did go
yes.
and you studied music to a certain extent, but clearly what took over was your ability to deliver incredibly catchy pop tunes, memorable tunes, and to sing in a very haunting way. But it seems to me there's a duality about the music we associate with you. I mean, the music is, you know, you want to dance, you want to sing it, but at the same time, if you think about some of the lyrics you're singing, they're very bleak.
Yes, that's right.
It's odd in a way that you put those two different things together.
Well, it was fairly deliberate on my part. It was quite conscious, because I think that music is this incredible vehicle for expression, and any artistic person is usually at odds with themselves. So part of my development was trying to find out, who am I, what am I doing here, what do I really think, what do I really feel, where do I belong, all of these issues. And through writing and performing music and recording music, I found a particular vehicle. And it's very simple. I mean, music can be anything you want it to be. It can be the sublime, to the ridiculous, to the most painful, to the sweetest, softest lullaby. I mean, it can be a whole variant of things. And I found that a tremendous amount of solace and power, and yeah.
What you're saying is fascinating, because yes, music can be so many different things, and it can have so many different tones, and yet you entered a business, the pop business, which wants to package.
Oh, it
wants to
does.
create commodities, and it wanted to, in a sense, create a commodity of Annie Lennox.
Well, of course. I mean,
how did you cope with that?
A lot of fisticuffs.
but fisticuffs on Hard Talk, you know, I've never had a guest actually.
Yeah. Well. But you've never had me on Hot Tub Day.
That's true. But I suppose what I'm getting at is for all the toughness that I sense inside you, did you feel in control of what you were doing, really?
Well, it's actually, sometimes it's fisticuffs and sometimes it's just trying to take the reins. And sometimes it wasn't just because somebody was trying to manipulate you. Sometimes they were just plain incompetent. So, you know, it went from one thing to another. And if you're an artist, you want your expression to be authentic and absolutely as much as you possibly can to be as true to how you envisage it to be. When you're working, you know, on the one hand, a young aspiring musician.
And a woman. And I want to talk a little bit about that too.
Later,
all right.
Lots to talk about with that. But what I mean to say is, as a young aspiring musician, the one thing that you wanted, and probably still would like to have these days, was a record deal. Mm. So, you know, we're odd bedfellows, the corporate world. Well, it wasn't the corporate world back in the day. Mm. It was the music industry. That's a different thing. And, you know, I did feel very much at odds with those corporate bedfellows eventually, and one tries to do one's thing with the facility of the advance that they will give you, that you will have to repay, and lots of it will be sliced off, and a little portion of it might come to you, and you'll be saying, thank you so much, I'm only really in it for the music.
Well, I don't want to complicate matters too much, but let's talk about the woman thing too, because, you know, you very striking woman in music. And part of the deal, seems to me often in pop music, is that you know, you are sold with sexiness as part of the agenda in the pop music business. You always were determined to have your own style. Some called it androgynous. You know, it was the boyish haircut, it was the suits. Was that your effort to say, I'm not playing that game?
Yes, absolutely.
Did it work?
It's also a statement, you know, because I mean, think about the punk ethos and the punk era. When you had nothing, you could take a plastic bag and wear it and spike your hair up and say, I exist, I am an entity, and I don't have to go with this flow, I don't have to go, I can go against the grain, I can be my own self. I suppose subliminally I was saying, I'm with a man, this is my counterpart, me and Dave Stewart, and he's a man, I'm a woman, but we're together in this, and I'm as strong as him, and I'll wear a suit, damn it, and I won't be defined by my gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the maybe extra twist of complication is that you and Dave Stewart had been in a relationship, and obviously during Eurythmics you weren't, but people always wondered about that, you know, who was in control.
People always do, don't they?
They certainly do.